Hi everyone, I'm back again with another episode. I'm here today with Karen Williams from Buddy Bag.
Thanks, Dave, for inviting me. My name is Karen Williams. I am the CEO and co-founder of the Buddy Bag Foundation. And what we do is we supply bags of love to children that sadly have been victims of domestic abuse. You may be shocked to hear that over 48,000 children in the UK every single year require emergency accommodation. And we have focused on women's refuge. There are over 400 women's refuge centres in the UK. And sadly, when children leave their family home, sometimes they can be removed from school in the middle of the day. They will be relocated to another part of the country, having left literally everything they own and everybody they love behind. So, this is a very traumatic experience for them. But what we try and do at the Buddy Bag Foundation is when they arrive in Women's Refuge with nothing, we provide them with a bag of love that contains 12 essential items such as pyjamas, pants and vests, toiletries, our lovely knitted toys. And these buddy bags genuinely give these children safety and security during such a traumatic experience of their life, Dave.
Yeah, I know from having done a few Buddy Bag packs myself that a lot of time goes into preparing this for all the different age groups. Yes, the thing that shocked me over here is the numbers of bags you produced and the number of bags you still need to produce year in, year out. It's quite a staggeringly sad number, isn't it, really? And in terms of covering the cost for those bags, how does most of your fundraising come from?
So we've been really fortunate. So Buddy Bag Foundation will be celebrating our 10 years in December, which is a huge milestone. And when we set up the charity, our philosophy from day one was that 100% of every single penny that we raised would go into our buddy bags. We don't employ anybody. We're a volunteer-led charity. And we started networking. And once we started sharing our purpose and our vision with our networking contacts, we were overwhelmed genuinely with the support that they offered us. I always say there's three ways you can support the Buddy Bag Foundation. Firstly, your time. Time is our most precious asset. And we have volunteers, individuals, we have groups, we have networking groups who volunteer their time, just 2 hours, to come and help us physically pack our buddy bags as part of a team building activity. So we have our flagship backpacking in Lichfield, which we have two a month, but we also have what we call our buddy bag kits, where you can actually order a kit, a minimum of 24 bags. And as a small group or a small team at work, you can physically pack these buddy bags yourself as part of your corporate social responsibility. Secondly, services. So again, using our networking contacts, we actually reached out to individuals and companies to donate their services free of charge. And it's been amazing. We've had over £500,000 worth of services donated. We've had our branding, we've had our solicitor, accountant, insurance, printing, lots of company donating their services again as part of their corporate social responsibility. And that has meant that money that we would have normally spent on services, like any company or charity would, we've been able to put that money straight back into our buddy bags. And then thirdly, donations. So each buddy bag costs £25. We have donations via our website. We have individual monthly donations, and then we work with a lot of groups such as schools, Rotary, the Masons, who fundraise for us. We've had people cycling from North to South Vietnam, jumping out planes, having their hair shaved off, all the normal mad, crazy fundraising activities that people do. And then for us, what's really been successful, and I think that's been through the networking route, is is engaging with corporates who have chosen us as their charity of the year. And as a consequence of that, they have fundraised within their own organisations. So the majority of our fundraising has come from individuals, groups, and then corporates.
Yeah, well, obviously we met via networking, and then it's come
Yes,
from
we
you.
did.
You're one of our charities of the month every year since. My
Yes.
wife has been on buddy backpacks and all sorts. So it's definitely, once we as a family heard the story, we couldn't not get behind it. To be honest, it makes you look at your children, your own situation, your life, and think, wow, my kids are really lucky, and a lot of people have it pretty tough. So if we can just help,
Mhm.
one of the biggest things about charity that I love, and I tell many people, I think you've been mentioned in a few podcasts, to be honest, is how all the money raised goes to the end cause. I have
Yeah.
a lot of experience dealing with a lot of different charities, and I understand some are massive organisations, and you need the structure, the governance, the levels that you have to have. But what comes with that is a huge wage bill.
Mhm.
You do think about that when you're handing over a cheque for £1,500. How much of this will actually make it to the story I believe in and want to fix? So it's
Mhm.
certainly a very endearing thing about charities like yourself is their little to no overheads. How many bags you've bought when you hand over your cheques. I know you've had people who have helped you by sponsoring a particular item. Have you still got that?
Yeah, so again, we've been really lucky. We call them non-cash donations. So over the years, we've had various donations given to us, such as books, toothbrushes, toiletries. I think our big thing for us is our knitted toys. So we started collecting knitted toys right at the very beginning, and everybody bag has one of these beautiful knitted toys. And what's really special about this is that obviously we are making a difference to the children who physically receive the buddy bags. We also make a difference to the mom, because she knows that her child is being looked after and is loved. But having these knitting groups throughout the UK who meet once a week, they have a cup of tea and they start knitting, it gives them a purpose. And instead of them knitting scarves or squares, they know that every single knitted toy that they knit will go to a child in emergency care. And some of the stories that I've heard and experienced, there was a lady during lockdown who her and her ladies, they knitted over 2,000 knitted toys. And she said to me, Karen, she said, if we hadn't had that purpose, I genuinely don't think I would have got through COVID. So for me, being able to give other people a purpose is really special. And we also collect these beautiful toiletry bags and pencil cases. So these are our crafters. So if anybody's interested in donating knitted toys or our toiletry bags, we have a crafters pack on our website that you can download. And yes, start knitting and sewing and sending those to us. All the details are on our website.
When you talk about there giving people a purpose, it was noticeable, particularly on the first backpack I came along to see what you do. The people that you have volunteering for, you're working with, that many of them did suffer as a child. There was domestic violence, they was looked after by social services, and you could see, whilst every backpack was really emotional for them and they tell you the story, it gives them a purpose too, to kind of be helping people who are where they was 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true, Dave. I think when I look at my volunteers, it's often sadly the volunteers that have experienced a situation themselves that later on in life, when they're in a good place, they actually want to volunteer and make a difference. And they're the ones that stick, if that makes sense, the ones that really do support us. And that's my long-term legacy, if I'm honest. We put a bookmark into our reading book. We put as much personal and positive affirmations into those bags as we possibly can, because my ultimate dream is that one day, once a child has received a bag, that they will go on in their lifetime and want to give back in some way, and it can be in any way, so that they and that tends to be what happens. I think the other thing that we're very sort of proud of at Buddy Bag Foundation is recognising our volunteers. We've engaged with over 6,000 volunteers over the last 10 years, and we have what we call our monthly Volunteer of the Month, and that I'm really proud to award that to a volunteer. We also have our annual awards where we bring together our volunteers and supporters and recognise volunteer ambassador, our top fundraiser, top corporate social responsibility. And I'm just arranging in September to bring together all the volunteers. We're having an afternoon tea. And what I've recognised with volunteers, it's giving them a purpose. It's physically doing the buddy bags, but it's being in the community that they love, being able to chat with the other volunteers. And they've genuinely, a lot of them, become really good friends as a result of that opportunity. And then 2 years ago, we won the Queen's Award. It was the last one that the Queen actually gave out, which was really special. The Queen's Award for Voluntary Service is equivalent to an MBE in the volunteer world, and it's recognising all the volunteers that have supported the Buddy Bag Foundation, because it is genuinely a team effort. And without the support of the volunteers, then we wouldn't be where we are today. We've just packed our 70,000th buddy bag, which obviously we're really proud of. It is sad that there is a need, but to think that we've made a difference to over 70,000 children by giving them that beautiful bag of love. And I often look at it, Dave, and think it's just a rucksack with a few things in, but it's not. It's giving them hope, it's giving them belief, it's giving them knowing that somebody loves them and knowing that they matter is so valuable. And they often use the rucksack to take to school. And there was a lovely story recently. There was sadly an autistic child who had been a victim of domestic abuse. She'd arrived at a women's refuge with her mom, and she was really struggling. You can imagine, to be taken out of that safe environment, your whole world turned upside down, and finding yourself in this safe house, but it's not a home, it's just a place. And she really, really struggled for quite some time. Bad behaviour, unsettled, couldn't sleep. It was just really sad. And then she was given one of our knitted toys, and they called it Buddy. And this simple little knitted toy transformed the life of that child, because it just gave her that peace, and she calmed down, she relaxed, she got back to, you know, what was normal for her. And for me, that was just an amazing story to hear, the feedback that, this little knitted toy had such an impact on that little girl and her family. So it's stories like that that we hear back from the Women's Refuge that make it all worthwhile,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
and just to reaffirm that, because people who hear that story and who don't have a child with additional needs or don't understand children with autism and think, oh yeah, I'm sure it didn't make. But my daughter has been tested for autism. She has additional needs and various things she suffers with, and these little comforts, little things where routine is broke. It's not.
Yeah.
I've got two daughters. There's complete polar opposite in how they can handle a change of circumstances. Even a nice weekend away can
Mm.
really disrupt her. And you've took her to somewhere that's lovely. Not literally stripped her out of her home and stuck her into a refuge for want of a better description. So yeah, the
Mm.
fact that you can
Mm.
bring a bit of a smile, a bit of comfort to those, and you mentioned it being just a rucksack. That's
Mm.
what struck me when I first saw the bag. I was like, it's just the essentials. It's nothing overly. But that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
They need that. And because you've kept it to that, you've kept the price of the bag in a sensible state, allowing you
Mm,
to help the thousands of people you help. You can make it
mm,
more elaborate, but
mm.
you're dropping the ocean who you could support.
Yeah, no, that's very true, Dave. Yeah, it's quite interesting. We've done quite a few surveys and asked the children what they would like in their buddy bags. And I'll have a computer, please, and I'll have a phone, and I'll have an Xbox. And you just think, yeah, you're just getting your rucksack.
You celebrate the 10-year anniversary this year.
Yeah.
What's two things? What's next for Ruddy Bag? But also, what advice would you give to anyone trying to create a charity, legacy, or trying to build a charity currently? Because you must have learned a lot over the years.
Yeah, so for Buddy Bag Foundation, for me, it's creating a long-term legacy for the Buddy Bag Foundation. That's my goal at the moment. We're just launching, hopefully in the next couple of months, our Buddy Fund. So that Buddy Fund will be a pot of money up to £500 that a family can apply for when they actually leave Women's Refuge. When they leave Women's Refuge, normally sort of 6 to 7 months, hopefully they are given accommodation, but that accommodation will be bare shell. It will have nothing in it. So then they need to equip that. This buddy fund will be just for the children to provide the essential items, such as items for their bedroom. So, we're talking basic, having a carpet, curtains, bed, a wardrobe, a little desk, a bedside lamp. Those essential items that we probably take for granted if we're moving home and would want for our own children, we want to help them create that safe sense of security for those children. So that's something we're working on at the moment in the background. And then for me, when people ask for top tips, I do have lots of them. I think for me, it was about treating the charity as what I call a proper business. So I had a very successful business before, well, two successful businesses before setting up the charity. And I think the key for me has been networking, if I'm really honest. I built my other business, Utility Warehouse, through networking. And on the back of that, I found that when you build relationships with people and they know, like, and trust you, when they see your purpose and your vision and your passion for something, they also want to be part of it. And like I said, whether that's time, money, or services. And that's where probably 90% of our fundraising has come from. So for me, that's been the number one priority. And alongside that is just having your strategies in place, setting goals. I'm a huge goal taker, visualizing how I wanted the charity to look like, and utilizing sort of services such as, I think, social media awareness is really important. I found over the years that you have to be sowing the seeds. You keep sowing the seeds, keep watering them, and eventually, people start contacting you, whether they want to become a trustee or they want to volunteer or they want to be part of your team building. So it's important to keep nurturing all your contacts through networking, because, that's where, like I say, the majority of our connections have come from.
Good, solid advice. I like the bit about treating it like a proper business because I think a lot of people have fears that, yes, charities are really great at the cause and really great at doing the fundraising, but are they often as cost savvy as they should be and drill down into the details to make sure they get the best commercial arrangements they possibly can? So, yeah,
Yeah, and
speaking to
we
other
have,
charities, I
yeah.
would say that's key.
Yeah, we've really focused on that, Dave, because it's very hard, obviously, when you first set up a charity. And, it is about being very conscious of where every single penny goes that you spend. And, sadly, fundraising is down 60% at the moment. So that's making it even harder for charities to survive. So yeah, you've got to be savvy. You've definitely got to have a plan and follow it. And it's no different to running a business.
I knew fundraising was down this year, having spoke to various charities, it's been harder, but didn't know it was down 60%.
Yeah, it's sad. And the only other thing I wanted to mention, Dave, before closing, is we do amazing team building activities, which have been, again, the core for us. What people love about Buddy Bag is that they can physically get involved in attending or hosting their own Buddy Bag pack, where volunteers have the opportunity, as I know, you guys have experienced, to physically pack those bags. Often they can go back into the local community. We do the Buddy Bag kits that I mentioned earlier, and all the details are on our website. We've worked with some amazing corporates, and we always have such humbling feedback from the volunteers when they've packed the bags. If anybody's looking to host a team building event, then again, all the details are on our website.
I would run that to people. Yeah, I did enjoy doing it. I know a lot of people who have got a lot out of that experience, and we as a business to show our staff what we're supporting, what the mission is, and where the money goes. It's a really useful exercise. So, yeah, people get in touch with Karen, arrange your team building
Mm.
experience,
Oh,
and
thank you,
ultimately
Dave. Thank you
helps
so
some children.
much.
No, I
And thank
appreciate your
you, thank
time,
you.
Karen.
Yeah, and thank you guys for all your support.
No problem. You can rely on your annual check off me.
Thank you.
And we could speak to Karen.
Thank you. Bye.